So today we're doing a battery drain test comparing every new 2025 iPhone model. The brightness levels on each device have been evenly matched, and they're all connected to the very same cellular and Wi-Fi networks. So this is one of the more interesting years for iPhone battery life in recent history, as we have the new crazy thin iPhone Air with its very small 3149 mAh battery, and in addition to Apple's typical year-over-year improvements, we saw the eSIM-only 17 Pro models receive an even bigger battery boost than the 17 Pro models that still have a physical SIM card tray. This is the first time that Apple has actually made use of the empty space in their eSIM-only models where the SIM card tray used to be. You get 264 less milliamp hours on the smaller 17 Pro with a physical SIM in comparison to the 17 Pro with eSIM only, and you get 265 less milliamp hours on the larger 17 Pro Max with a physical SIM in comparison to the 17 Pro Max with eSIM only. The physical SIM 17 Pro models, again, still have the typical year-over-year moderate battery size increase over last year's 16 Pro models, but they don't have the kind of double boost that the 17 Pro eSIM-only models get. Unfortunately, it just entirely depends on the country where you live, whether you'll get an eSIM-only iPhone or a physical SIM card model. I'll leave a link in the video description down below to where you can check if Apple in your country sells eSIM-only iPhones or iPhones with a physical SIM card tray. Since I'm based in the United States, in this video we're using the eSIM-only models with the biggest battery capacities available. This discrepancy unfortunately makes the results of tests like this inconsistent depending on where you live. So for the physical SIM card versions of the 17 Pro and 17 Pro Max, expect around 7-ish% worse battery performance than what you see throughout this video. Now for the eSIM-only 17 Pros, which we're using in this video, the biggest improvement by far in comparison to last year's 16 Pros is on the smaller 17 Pro, which received an 18.7% larger battery capacity than last year's 16 Pro. This is a big step up in capacity year over year, and we're already seeing the effects of this in this test so far, with the smaller 17 Pro trailing surprisingly not that far behind the larger 17 Pro Max. There's certainly much less of a gap between the smaller Pro and the Pro Max than we've ever seen in previous years. And beyond the impressive battery improvements, the massively updated cameras are another massive upgrade for the iPhone 17s this year. And channel sponsor TORRAS Q3 Air Cases help you capture the moment with your iPhone's camera more easily than ever. Their built-in 360-degree magnetic stand provides impeccable stability for taking center stage selfies, dual capturing video hands-free, or just casually taking photos and videos, whether it be on a railing when taking a group photo or on your desk when recording a video. It's a fantastic tripod substitute, and the fact that it's built right into your iPhone's case makes it pretty hard to beat. And thanks to their airbag corner design, they feature great drop protection in addition to anti-slip sides, making for a very secure grip and a very aesthetically appealing design with multiple great color options. These cases really do make the impressive camera capabilities of the iPhone 17s so much easier to take advantage of and use in your everyday life, in addition to providing great protection and looking stylish. So click on the link in the video description down below to check out the TORRAS Q3 Air Cases, and huge thank you to TORRAS for sponsoring this video. So as we continue with the test here, I just wanted to let you guys know I'm not using the adaptive power mode option that shipped with iOS 26 that's enabled by default on all the iPhone 17 and iPhone Air models. This mode can dynamically lower brightness or make certain things take longer to save battery performance when needed. Obviously for a test like this, to ensure accurate results, I have this disabled on all of them, just so, again, none of them are doing different things to kind of optimize at different times. But I just wanted to let you guys know about that, as, again, it is enabled by default in the battery settings on the iPhone 17 models and the iPhone Air. And speaking of the iPhone Air, it's holding up about as I expected. It's certainly worse battery performance than the standard 17, but it's not painfully worse. I think it's actually very impressive how passable the iPhone Air's battery performance is for a phone as razor thin as this. Now, I will say, since its battery performance is already fresh out of the box considerably worse than the standard iPhone 17, it's likely going to age pretty poorly 2 to 3 years down the line, similar to how the mini iPhone's batteries aged pretty badly. But again, for this form factor, I'd say it's about as good as it can be for the time being, and battery performance is just one of those areas you are going to sacrifice some in if you decide to early adopt this new iPhone Air format. And the standard iPhone 17 has rock solid battery performance and will provide more than enough for most, and is definitely the best overall value this year for most users. For $800, you just get so much with the standard iPhone 17, and again, it has very solid battery performance. So as we continue on with the test here, eventually the 17 Pro and 17 Pro Max are the last devices left standing. Again, with the smaller 17 Pro really being the most impressive thing about this video to me, the fact that it's following not that far behind the larger 17 Pro Max, which usually is not the case with these videos. Typically, in years past, the smaller Pro model performs very similarly to the base model, but again, due to that much larger battery size, specifically in the eSIM model that we're using in this video, it's a big step up for the smaller Pro model this year. And after the 17 Pro finally calls it quits, the 17 Pro Max is of course the last device left standing. And forwarding a few more hours in when the 17 Pro Max finally dies. So taking a look at the final results, the standard 17 is undoubtedly the best value for most people. It just has rock solid battery performance. The Air's battery is okay. It's not really good, but definitely not terrible either. However, again, considering that this is at the very beginning of its lifespan, and as time goes on, 2, 3, 4 years down the line, the battery's only going to degrade more. It's not a phone I could recommend to most people. It's just not a great investment long term, unless you're someone who upgrades their phone every 1 to 2 years, if you're really into that. But if you're planning on holding onto it for longer than a year or two, don't get the Air. And the battery performance on the 17 Pros this year is just off the charts. Of course, the 17 Pro Max is the battery champion of all time. If you want the best battery performance, that's the best place to be. But the smaller 17 Pro, I think, is the most impressive thing about this whole video. It's just such a step up in comparison to smaller Pros from previous generations, all on a device that's the same footprint size as the standard 17. So if you want that middle ground of still a smaller phone but much better battery performance, the smaller 17 Pro is a great choice this year. Again, just keep in mind the 17 Pro and 17 Pro Max we've used throughout this video are the eSIM only versions, which do have those bigger battery capacities. So just keep in mind, if you're in a country that sells the models that still have a physical SIM card slot, your battery capacity is going to be a little bit lower on the 17 Pro and 17 Pro Max. But guys, that just about wraps it up for this video. I appreciate your support. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one.